Stellantis. So I've been talking about Stellantis, and I've been preparing y'all for Stellantis for a long time. Ever since I seen that Sean Fain was on a mission to try to get in good with the people in the Democratic Party because he was anticipating the possibility of becoming a cabinet member and leveling up at a time where he was willing to throw Detroit automakers under the bus. And I don't think that that's the entire reason why Chrysler is suffering. But ever since they started striking, and I seen Biden throw UAW members under the bus, and now I'm seeing Stellantis practically crash out, I had to go and buy my own Hellcat, not for me to drive, but because I think that it's going to be a collector's item. I seen somebody tell me yesterday on my video that released yesterday, they said, Anton, I can't believe that you're investing in depreciating assets. I said, it's a toy. It's a toy that I like. What are you talking about? I love having toys that appreciate over time or hold its value over time, especially if you take care of it. But I went and bought one because it's the last call. And so they made a number of mishaps. They gave in to the UAW. Now they're laying off employees. They're making people come back that's not laid off, that is working remote. And the CEO is not even going to be leaving until 2026. But Carlos Tavares is basically crashing the entire auto industry. And so I am concerned about this, and this is meaningful, not just because this is something I've been covering for a long time, but also because I told you so. And I got brothers and sisters, not necessarily family members, but people that I love out here in Detroit that are being affected by what is going on with Stellantis. So let's talk about it, and then I'm going to tell you what my thoughts are. And so first, we're going to go over this first video that basically breaks down Stellantis' position in reversing remote work policy. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
Welcome back to Squawk Box. Time now for our executive edge. Automaker Stellantis bringing workers back to the office. This is now a story we keep hearing. And reversing their work from home policy. It comes after its profit warning prompting a shakeup of top management. The makers of brands including Jeep and Chrysler now want staff in the office an average of 3 days per week. It previously, Joe throws his hands up.
And it tripped out when you look at this right here and you look at all of those robots. Look at all of the robots come by in order to do the welds and stuff. Look at this. Watch this.
3 days per week. It previously, Joe throws his hands up.
All of those used to be workers. All of those used to be jobs. The people at the ports is trying to advocate against automation too.
3 days.
Bastards. Oh my God.
Allowing employees to spend 70% of their work time remotely. That was the previous plan.
Not going to take it.
CEO Carlos Tavares praising remote work following COVID lockdowns and drastically reduced office space and sold real estate assets to cut costs. So
that's interesting. They got rid of the office,
right,
so there's not a place to come back to.
Less places to come back to. What are you going to do when you come back? This is a real thing.
I know, but it was just funny the way you said that. It's like, oh, my God. And then now demanding you back 3 days a week.
That probably comes from people who have moved far away,
right?
Figuring that they can do this for forever.
And a lot of people did move far away. A lot of people during the COVID lockdown said, oh, I'm never going back to work, or we're never going to go. And all of this stuff, Amazon is bringing people back in. All of these companies, most companies are bringing people back into the job and saying that you got to work in-house. And so either you got to move back or you got to get laid off or you got to quit. Check this out.
CEO Carlos Tavares says nothing is off the table as the company tries to turn around its sagging profits. He told reporters at the Paris Auto Show that he's even considering plant closures.
He also said eliminating brands would be an option to help the company's bottom line. The automaker's profits are down almost 50% compared to this time last year. Here to discuss is Wayne State University Professor Emeritus Merrick Masters. Merrick, thanks for being here today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so this seems to be pretty dire straits for Stellantis. Can you describe the situation, the overall situation that the company finds itself in right now?
The overall situation is declining sales, which have led to declining profits. They forecast that their operating margins will be about half of what they were last year for the forecast for the rest of the year. And as a result of that, they're having to look hard at their brands and their footprint, their employment footprint in the United States and globally.
Okay, and if they're looking at the possibility of even closing some plants, I'd imagine that doesn't fare well with some of those workers who are already frustrated. How does this help their confidence in the company?
Well, I think there's a lot of apprehension on the part of workers due to the difficulty in the transition to EVs and the uncertainty about the market, generally speaking.
And Trump is right. Trump was absolutely right. They're killing the whole industry,
eclipsing many other companies, the nation's companies in the EV market, and that poses threats in the future. So when I look at the overall situation for the industry as a whole in the U.S., it's not very bright. It's far removed from what it was just a few months ago during the record contracts over record profits in 2023. What you see now is a rude awakening to some extent. Stellantis has already had to lay off employees. It's now embroiled in a major battle with the UAW over its delay in plant investments that were planned as part of the 2023 accord.
Let me show you what's really happening on the ground, because we can all talk about and we can all show and speculate and say, well, listen, this is what's happening. This is what he said at the Paris Auto Show. They're requiring people to come back in, but let me show you what's really happening on the ground as they lay people off in the plants at like Warren and the Jefferson plant and stuff like that. Things that we used to celebrate during the Trump administration, this is now what's happening under Kamala Harris's administration, Sean Fain negotiation, Carlos Tavares's fumbling, and why workers, you, the middle class, are usually the ones that catch the back end and the tail end of the stick. Let me show you what you can look forward to.
Just 20 days away, both candidates are spending plenty of time in swing state Michigan. As we told you earlier, Charlemagne the God is currently hosting Vice President Kamala Harris live in Detroit in a town hall conversation for his show, The Breakfast Club. Well, former President Donald Trump is set to speak to auto industry insiders in Detroit this Friday during his own rally.
And guess who's going to be there? Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it.
Now, auto workers are a crucial voting bloc, but there are far fewer of them than there used to be. In fact, America has lost 260,000 in the past 25 years. That's more people than the populations of Scottsdale, Arizona, Irving, Texas, or Boise, Idaho. Gone. And the cuts are still coming. After a bruising strike last year by the United Auto Workers Union, which aimed to give those on the assembly line more pay, more stability, and more security, Stellantis, the parent company of Jeep, Chrysler, and Ram, just laid off up to 2,500 more workers. Now, have you heard the presidential candidates talking about this? Have you heard anyone talking about this?
When you see me, make sure you say what up, though. The rise is going to be crazy. I wish I could talk about it. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. We'll talk about it. We'll review it.
Well, we are. Special correspondent Charlie LaDuff takes us to Warren, Michigan, and kicks off our News Nation series, Going Broke, The Forgotten Americans.
I own my own home, a couple cars, you know what I mean? I got 4 kids. Got a wife, beautiful wife at home. So to see it just all of a sudden disappear, wouldn't you be a little mad about that?
Detroit auto worker is dying on the vine.
And I've been here 4 years working hard. You want to give these jobs to other people so you can pay them less than what you're paying me. You shouldn't have never did that.
You can hear her in the streets. You can hear him in the bars. This is a UAW joint in Warren, Michigan. Stellantis, the European company that now owns Jeep, Ram, Dodge, and Chrysler, is laying off 2,500 people at the factory right across the street. Whenever I go to a wake, I like to buy the family a drink.
Everybody that wants one. So what's this mean for people and their bills and everything?
It sucks. What you mean? What it mean? The people got to change their whole dynamic now. This is all up, and they've been there 30 years already. Come on, bro. Is that right? No, that ain't
I mean,
right.
You got all the bills outstanding, and all of a sudden it's yanked out.
Nah, it's yanked out.
Michigan is car country, so when an auto plant lays people off, the unemployment train starts to roll downhill. ABC Murray Sprockets has been here on 8 Mile Road more than 50 years.
By the magic of TV. Charlie, it's Bob.
They make gears for the assembly line. If the assembly line isn't churning out cars, then ABC might soon become see you later.
The way the country's going now, are you worried that you won't be the fourth generation?
No, I plan on being the fourth generation. I just hope it doesn't die with me.
Well, where's the hell is work going in this country?
It's going to shame. China.
Do you feel that the corporations and the political professionals have forgotten about you, this neighborhood, this state? Have they left you hanging?
I think our governor's left us hanging for sure. I don't think she cares about business in this state right here. She needs to.
Mark Kerniel has been a UAW member for 30 years. He says he'll be okay, but he says the political class has lost the working class.
Every political season, they're here. Kamala's here, Donald's here, and 2 years ago, nobody was here.
Yeah, there was no political pundits here at all, not even in your local cities, city council, either from Detroit or for Warren. You didn't see them until they needed us.
American taxpayers have given Stellantis billions of dollars in cash and incentives, and the Ram truck sells. It was the two-time truck of the year. In fact, North America is Stellantis' most profitable division on the planet. So why, after a bruising strike last year, where temporary workers finally got a raise and became full-time workers, is the company now kicking them to the curb? I reached out to the CEO, Carlos Tavares, at his Portuguese farm. I wanted to ask Carlos why he gave himself a 50% raise while eating escargot as he's planning to let our cars go. I got nothing. So I went inside the Ram plant here in Warren to find the manager. No one to be found except this dude.
I had reached out to the company for some comment on the layoffs, and I didn't hear back, so I'm here now.
Okay, this is private property. You came from under.
Shift change, working men and women. It isn't easy committing your life to a machine only to have it ripped away. Just listen.
So what's going to happen?
We all disappear.
Are you angry?
Everybody angry. Everybody's angry.
Are you scared?
I'm scared to death.
Just being punched after punch, it's just so hard, you know? It's like you just keep pushing us back.
Well, there's a new saying in Warren, Michigan. Next car I'm going to get me is a Ford. That's right, a car.
It's bad. It's very, very bad. And most people are suffering. And so while they're sitting there pandering, and you got these Democrats that's running around trying to make sure that they cozy up to whoever it is that they think is going to be president to the United States of America again, people in real life, as I predicted, as I told you to buckle up when y'all was saying, oh, no, I remember. You know what? I'm about to pull up some of them other live streams. I had people from Chrysler at this very plant call into this show and tell me that I was wrong. They were going to get historical contracts. They were going to win, and they was going to laugh in my face. And I said, all right, you're going to laugh now, you're going to cry later. I told people, prepare to get laid off, prepare to lose your jobs. Best case scenario, you don't lose your job, you get another whatever, you get another job, another opportunity, you develop a new skill to where you don't suffer. Take advantage of the employee tuition reimbursement, get another skill. Y'all said, nope, we chilling, we good, we ballin'. You got your little bonus check. You said that you was going to go get you a new Wagoneer. Shout out to my dog, Slimmy. You remember that, Chris James? I said it. And it's not just the people that work at these plants. It's the people that actually work at the suppliers that support these plants that's also going to be laid off. It's an entire industry that's built around the auto industry. It's the restaurants. It's the suppliers. It's the people that work at the plants. It's the managers, the middle managers. It's families that then depend on it. I said it. I warned it. Chris James said, but we didn't expect it to happen so soon. I said it. I said that it was going to happen. I said, y'all got to go and prepare yourself because this is a temporary stop for a permanent solution. And if y'all think that they're going to be paying y'all for the next 30 years at this rate, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You are going to suffer. You better develop a new skill. You better go and figure it out. but they are going to lay you off, and you are not the prize. Already, when they was in the negotiation room with you, they was figuring out how they can move plants over to somewhere else, and they was already building plants in Mexico. They was building plants in Canada. They was moving product. They had no plans to keep you. You had 1 year at best to figure it out. 1 year. Get your resume together, get your LinkedIn together, clean up your social media, start to develop a new skill, do something. Save, cut your costs, all of that. You had 1 year to get yourself together, and then it was going to start to be, and depending on who win the election, it's going to be even worse coming forward.
I can afford.
Right.
To your future. To your future.
Thank you. Cheers.
All right, News Nation's special correspondent Charlie LaDuff joins us now. Charlie, where did those jobs go, those 2,500 jobs? Did they go overseas? Did they go to automation here? Where did they go?
That's the funny thing, Elizabeth. Nobody seems to know. The company's not clear what they're doing. They're reconfiguring. Maybe something's going to Canada. Maybe there's a plant in Brazil. But the real thing is the trucks are sitting around. People are getting laid off, temporarily laid off. And the economic pain is real.
And what has this done to, you said the unemployment rate, the train goes downhill, but in all seriousness, what has that done to the local economy? There are so many other jobs that are dependent on these factory jobs.
100%. These are good jobs. This is the cream of the crop when you're talking about blue-collar America. And with benefits and overtime, you're talking $100,000 a job, 2,500 jobs. There might be another 3,000 jobs going. It seems like 5-6 dozen a week are leaving, and that means hamburger shacks, tennis shoe shops, my mom's flower shop, all of us. We're all in it together, and it's not really being recognized.
Yeah, well,
that is what's happening on the financial front. Again, I would encourage you guys to make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. That way you don't have to be interdependent on the federal government or whoever becomes president to support you, because a reckoning is coming and an awakening is already here.